listening to it. Healthy, wealthy, and wise. And we hope to make you all healthy, wealthy, and wise. I know it's a little difficult with the wise on some of us, right, Eric? Teaching us old dogs new tricks, you know?
It can be done.
It can be done. I believe it can. I try to change every single day, at least my underwear.
Hey, 1%. Go by the 1% rule. I'm going to be 1% better today than I was yesterday.
That's good.
Think about that every day.
Yeah.
What's 1%?
1%.
That's it.
Give it a shot.
Can't change the world in a day.
Yeah. Hey, call in
1%.
today. Change, and call us today. 508-822-1106. We'd love to have you join in on the conversation. We're going to be talking about moolah.
Money.
How many names is there for moolah? The green stuff.
The green stuff.
Money,
yeah, you know, I think one thing we should talk about when we talk about money. I think one of the things that's important is to talk about people's view of money. What's your paradigm? How do you view money? What does money mean to you? And you know, what I mean by that in particular is if your view of money is that I don't want it because it's too much of a burden, or it's I'll never have a lot of money, those sorts of things. What is your money blueprint? I think people really need to look at that. And that might be why you're not achieving financial success in your life. And we talk about wealth. A lot of people talk about wealth. And wealth isn't just about money. Wealth is what money brings to your life. Wealth is certainly an important aspect of money is certainly an important aspect of wealth, but it's not the only thing. What does it do for you? If all you do is work from morning till night and don't enjoy some time, don't enjoy your family, don't enjoy your children, don't enjoy some hobbies, then I think you're missing a little bit of what money can do for you.
Exactly.
Right? Money can be freedom, right? The freedom from having to work every day. Instead of working for the money, let your money work for you, and you know, it'll free you up to do other things in life. Wouldn't it be great to work because you want to and not work because you have to?
Yeah.
Work on things that you're passionate about. Maybe, for example, you want to be an animal rights activist, but you can't be. Why? Maybe you don't have enough money. You don't have enough financial freedom. Why don't you have that freedom? Do you have too much debt? Do you not have enough passive income? And we talk about passive income almost every single week on the show, right? What is passive income? It's money that earns for you while you're doing something else. It's income that continues to come in. And is your paradigm about money that I work for an hour and get paid for an hour, and that's all it will ever be for me? Well, then you may get stuck in that rut of you're going to work for an hour and get paid for an hour. There's nothing wrong with working for an hour and getting paid for an hour. That's not what I'm trying to say. Are you doing that because you're in debt? Let's attack the debt. Let's get rid of the debt. Stop giving that money to the credit card companies. Stop giving that money somewhere else. Stop paying penalties.
Well, a lot of people feel hopeless, and they don't know how to attack the debt.
Right.
Which they do have to.
They do.
And a lot of people say they don't care about money until they don't have enough.
That's right. Well, you know, the funny thing is too, and if you're having a conversation with somebody and they say money doesn't matter, the first thing I say is, you don't have any, don't you? Right? Because money does matter. It does matter. It's not the most important thing, and we've said that before, but it's way up there with oxygen. Mm-hmm. Okay? It is. And what does money mean to you? And I've studied a lot of super successful people, ultra successful people. And we're talking people who have earned a lot of money. And what money meant to them was freedom, personal time to spend more, to create memorable moments with their families, to travel, to work on projects that help people. Being broke is not fun. No. Being in debt is not fun. So,
but everybody can do something to change it.
Yes, they can. Every single person. And it starts with a mindset. How do you view it? I'll never be out of debt. I'll never be rich. Mm-hmm. Well, then guess what? You're probably never going to be out of debt. You're probably never going to be rich.
You're planting the negative thoughts.
That's exactly what it is. So, one way is to educate yourself on how to get rid of debt, how to get started. And you can't change it. Just 1% each day is a little bit better. So educate yourself. If you have some debt, we can talk about debt reduction, okay, which is certainly...
I've got some ideas to share with people here on
great.
Reducing your debt.
That's perfect, yep.
Which we have to. And the answer isn't... I was listening a little bit to the last show, and I agree with a lot of it, and I disagree with a lot of it. The answer isn't just increasing people's wages, because, they're going to give you the same amount of work. Mm-hmm. So by increasing their wages, you're not really giving them an incentive to work harder, because a lot of people feel that that's what they deserve.
Right.
But if you give them an opportunity to advance.
That's right.
An opportunity to make more money.
That's
I mean,
right.
you know, you can't, I know there's a lot of people that earn minimum wage. I did for a long time.
Right. And that's necessary sometimes to get started.
Exactly.
You're moving in the right direction. And moving in the right direction, you can change course as you go. You know, you can't be a deer caught in the headlights saying, well, I don't want to make that decision because I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. Well, get started. Get started in correct course as you go. If it starts with minimum wage, it starts with minimum wage. But minimum wage does not create wealth.
No.
It doesn't.
But it's up to you to change that, as
It
you
is.
said. And, you know, to complain about people making millions and millions, and you know what, I don't complain about them, and I don't envy them, because some of them came here with not a nickel in their pocket.
That's right.
And they found ways
They did.
to make their wealth.
Yes, they did.
And they worked hard to make their wealth. Not saying that people aren't working hard for minimum wage, but they've got to work a little smarter.
Right. And that's it. And where is your money going? And, you know, we talk about, for example, somebody who wins a lottery. You win $5 million. What would you do if you had $5 million? Well, if somebody says, I'm going to take a trip around the world. Well, that might be great, but why don't you come up with a plan to reduce all your debt so that money's going to go further so you can give more to the next generation of your family, sort of a thing. But that's a money blueprint, right? I'm going to buy a big house. Well, why don't you decide where you're going to invest that money, how you're going to keep that wealth, right? People earn a paycheck all week and then Friday night and they go out blow it on the weekend. So what are you working for? Ask yourself that. Are you working just for the sake of working, or are you working for something? The people you mentioned, they were working toward something, right? They earned that money. They worked hard. They worked 12-hour days, 15-hour days sometimes to get started, to get to the next step. They didn't work 15-hour days so they could work 15-hour days for the rest of their life and then retire at 60 and be broke when they're 60 and they retire. They didn't do it for that reason.
They had a dream, and they had a desire, and they
That's right.
followed through on it and had a plan.
That's right.
Because without a plan, you're not going to get anywhere.
That's right. And write it down.
Write it down. Exactly. You can change it.
You can change it.
Yes.
Read it every morning. Read it every night. What's your plan for that money? What is your why? Why are you doing it? Why are you working? So, you know, if you want to talk about debt, I can give you a little hint on getting rid of some credit card debt right away.
I've got some stuff here, too.
So,
yeah.
one of the things that a lot of people aren't aware of, and this is just a very small trick in a very small habit to get into. If you're trying to pay off a credit card balance, first thing you got to do is chop up the credit card. You can't use it. You really have to get rid of it. You must get rid of your credit cards. Get into the habit of using your debit cards. And if you don't have the cash, or using cash. If you don't have the cash, you can't buy it. Okay? So, in any case, attacking some debt.
So what you do is you list the debt from the largest to the smallest.
Yeah,
right? And
right.
you attack that smallest debt
First. That's exactly right. That comes right out of Dave Ramsey, right? Dave Ramsey talks, well, one of the things he mentions, and this Total Money Makeover is one of the best books you can do. It's very difficult to actually get started, so, you know, reach out for help if you do, but it's a great way to get started. And he'll give you a great view on how to get out of debt. But one of the first things you want to do is create an account that is a buffer account. Okay? Don't start attacking your debt until you've got a buffer account. And he says $1,000. You want to work hard on getting to $1,000. Get $1,000 in an account somewhere. That way, if your car breaks down, you don't need to put it on your credit card. That way, if there's some sort of an emergency, you don't need to put it on your credit card. You've got that cash. The first thing he talks about, get that $1,000. If it's $200, if it's $500, whatever it is, get that established and chop up your credit cards. Stop using them. Change the habit. You don't buy it because it's on sale and you're going to save a bunch of money. You don't need that. Okay.
Let's talk about getting the $1,000. Okay.
Yep.
Ideas on getting the $1,000. And there are a number of ways that you can cut down on expenses and use that money to build that. And I showed a gentleman how he could build that $1,000 in 2 months.
Yep. 2 months.
Not
Think about that.
earning any more money.
Right.
And in his case, there's a lot of different ideas, but in his case, he was stopping for, every time he got gas, he would buy a drink. He would stop in the morning and get himself coffee and a donut, and then another one in the afternoon. He was spending over $20 a day.
Wow.
Over $20 a day. You don't realize it.
No.
But he was spending over $20 a day. You figure that out. $20 a day, 30 days a month. That's $600. in 1 month. One habit.
Month. That's right. One habit.
Yep. 1 month, and there's so many others. I mean, cutting back on your cable bill, you should save a ton of money. I mean, you don't have to have HBO and all those other things. You can save 50, 60, 70 bucks a month right there.
Ask yourself if you even need cable at all. Never mind just the premium packages, right? Do you actually need cable? And I would say this, if you're in debt, if you haven't reached your financial goals, if you're in debt, the first thing you need to do is get rid of cable. All right, because sitting and watching TV is the worst killer. Yeah. And I heard the figure the other day that the average American watches 40 hours of television per week. That's a second job. That's a full-time second job.
Yeah.
40 hours a week. I was floored.
At minimum wage.
At minimum wage.
That's $400 a week.
That's it. Your $1,000 is made up in almost the first month.
Yeah.
Right? Stop giving your money to the cable company. Get rid of your cable. All right? And look at those habits like you're talking about.
Yeah. And let me mention a few. Gifting, you can save like $150 a month. These are just ideas. Getting your nails and pedicures done, you can save like $40 a month. Vending machine, snacks and drinks, up to $40 a month. Shopping sprees for clothes and stuff. I mean, I know the woman don't want to hear that. But gosh, I mean, you can save up to $200 a month.
Yes, you can.
Entertainment, you go to the movies. Go to the movies once in a while. Don't go all the time. You don't have to see every movie. Wait till it comes out. On Netflix or something like that, which is not really expensive.
No, that's right.
Entertainment, $200 a month. Dining out. I mean, how many times have you gone out to eat and got out of there with your family for less than $100?
Very difficult.
It is.
It is very difficult.
I drive. Sometimes I'll go out to eat with my wife. I can't even find a place to go out to eat because the parking lots are all full and you got a waiting line a mile long.
I know.
So I'm not trying to discourage that because those businesses need the money. But if you want to be successful and pay off this debt that we're talking about, you got to cut some of these things.
And you'll be able to do that once you've cut down on the debt. Exactly. And you'll be able to live a lifestyle that's much higher than you have now once you've cut down on the debt. So change some of those habits and take that $1,000, get that into an account. You chopped up your credit cards. If you don't have the cash to pay for it, you can't go. You can't have it. You can't do it. You mentioned the sales, right? And this is, again, just one aspect of getting to where you want financially. I have this discussion with people all the time. They say they really don't have the money for this. They don't have the money for that, but I just bought a brand new pair of shoes at such and such. And I say, well, how much were they? Oh, they were 50% off. That doesn't answer the question. How much were they? Well, I saved X. No, how much were they? And did you really need them? So change that habit, change that thinking, get that $1,000. And then into your comment earlier, attack your smallest debt first. And the reason for that, regardless of interest rate on the credit cards, it gives you a victory. It gives you a victory right away. It makes you feel good. So if you have, 2 or 3 credit cards, maybe they're small balances, maybe they're not. Start with the smallest balance and take extra and put that away. Now, I'm going to tell you that the way that you pay those cards is also important. And here's what I mean. Let's say you have a $5,000 balance on your credit card. $2,000, whatever it is, and your minimum payment is $150, and it's due by the end of a month. So let's say it's the 28th if it's February, or the 30th, or whatever it is. And you wait until that day and you pay it. Then your statement is generated a few days later. So let's say your statement is generated on the 2nd or 3rd of the following month. If you let that minimum payment float for the entire next month, you're paying interest on not only the outstanding balance, but the minimum payment that's due. So if it's a $5,000 balance or a $2,000 balance, whatever it is, with that $150 payment, you're actually paying interest on $5,150. So what you want to do is get in the habit of making your payment the day the statement comes out. If your statement comes out on the 3rd, pay it on the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th. Pay it within the first few days. That way, that entire month, they're only actually collecting interest on the outstanding balance, not the outstanding balance plus the payment. That will accelerate your reduction of that debt. Secondly, when you start to free up money, because you're not buying those coffees every morning, you're not buying those soft drinks, you're not buying that stuff. And by the way, we didn't mention a real killer. not only killer to your budget, but a killer to your health, is cigarettes.
Oh, my God.
You're paying $10 a pack for cigarettes. Are you kidding me? But then you complain about money, and that's the same person that probably stands in line at the convenience store saying, give me 3 number 3 lottery tickets and 4 number 5s and that sort of thing, right? But in any case.
Hey, quick fact. Let me throw it in here.
Yep.
This will blow your mind. One latte a day, $5.
Yep.
Okay? At the end of a month, $150.
That's incredible.
At the end of a year, $1,825. At the end of 5 years, $9,125. At the end of 10 years, $18,250. That's one latte a day.
I hope some people just fell out of their chair. I really, really do. That is a huge figure. Those are real numbers, by the way.
Those are real numbers.
And the thing about numbers is numbers do not lie. You can kid yourself, but if you're broke at the end of every single month, there's one of two things going. You're spending too much money, or you're not earning enough money, right? I mean, there's a couple of things there. So those are real numbers.
I love Jim Rohn when he says, I run out a month at the end of the money.
Right. And that's true. And Dave Ramsey talks about that. He talks about when you sit down, and he really has a system for this. You sit down and you look at your monthly expenses. You can't live, obviously, without clothing. You can't live without food. You can't live without shelter. All right? So those are some of the things that you right away budget for. And you're earning X amount of dollars. Everything else gets below the line. Your creditors, believe it or not, your creditors get below the line sometimes. If you're just making enough to survive, then you pay what it takes to survive, and you're not paying anybody else. You're not paying that credit card first. You're not paying that cable bill first. You're not paying your cell phone bill first. Those are not what you're paying first. You're paying for those most important things, okay? And, you know, he's got a whole philosophy on how to negotiate debt, how to negotiate, payoffs and things like that. If you get to the point where you say, I don't have enough to survive, I'm not paying that credit card this month, give him a call and tell him. Negotiate. Say, listen, you're not going to get paid. You're below the line. You're not going to get paid. There is a way to negotiate that debt. A lot of people now say, well, what about my credit? What about my credit scores? And you know what? Those credit scores are only important to the people that want to extend you credit. If you're in trouble, I'm not saying don't pay your debt. That's not what I'm advocating. I'm just saying that if you're in a survival mode, then you need to get, as Dave Ramsey would call, gazelle intense. You ever see the Discovery Channel when there's a lion chasing a gazelle? That gazelle's got no choice but to get away. He's pretty intense on getting away. That's the way you have to get about your debt. To the credit card. You make that minimum payment right away. As soon as that statement comes out, you make that payment. So you're not going to be charged interest on also the payment that's due. And then, and I suggest you do it online. Jump online and make the payments. And then when you have extra, and again, you got to work at it. When you have extra, you got an extra $20, go on and pay it against that balance. If it's 4 days later that you said, all right, I haven't had coffees each morning, so I've got an extra $20, I'm going to pay that 20 towards that credit card. You put that 20 towards that credit card. Because now that balance has come down even a little bit more, so they're collecting less interest for the rest of the month. So you had a $5,000. They're not charging you on the $150 payment. You have a $5,000 outstanding. You put $20 additional onto it at the end of that week. Well, now you have a $4,980 balance, and that's what they're charging you interest on. The following week, you put another $20. Now it's $4,960. You follow me on that? That'll accelerate the reduction of that debt. Okay? Don't wait till the end of the month and pay it, because you've just paid interest on that payment that they've let you float for the month. Yeah. So don't do that. Right,
and
so
you're almost breaking even sometimes with just paying interest.
You're barely paying everything, and it takes you forever, and you'll accelerate the reduction of that debt. So that's just one small trick.
So once you pay off that first credit card, okay, that frees up some cash.
Yes.
Okay, what are you going to do with that?
Now that extra money, that $150 that you've just paid off, or whatever that minimum payment, I don't care if it's $20.
Yep.
You're now going to take that $20 and add that to the acceleration of the debt reduction for your next one. So if you've got 3, now let's say you're spending, whatever it is, it's 150, whatever the number is. You're now going to be taking that extra and pounding that away at that next card, that next debt, whatever it is. It might be installment debt. Installment debts are car loans, personal loans, consolidation loans. Those are, installments. It's a fixed dollar amount each month.
And the absolute best way to do that is to take that, say $150, and have it automatically withdrawn.
Yep.
and paid.
Yep,
Because
so you don't see it.
You're not going to see it.
No.
You're not going to spend it.
You don't now have an extra $150 a month. That money is still going to debt reduction.
Exactly.
Right. So, now, once you've established some of those practices, some of those habits, it takes 30 days. Well, there's a book out there I love, by the way. It's called The Way of the SEAL, written by Mark Devine, former Navy SEAL, and he says it takes 30 days. His studies have shown it takes 30 days to create a habit, right? So once you've created that habit and you've gotten used to not having that money, you're paying that debt down, it becomes a lifestyle, right? So you start to continue to do that. Now, let's say you need 4 tires on your car. Well, you're not going to use your card for it because your cards are chopped up, they're closed out, they're done. You're now going to take that $1,000 reserve that you had, and you're going to pay $500 for your tires, right? Then you're going to take some of that extra, and you're going to split it. You're going to split what the debt reduction is, and then you're going to add back to that $1,000 to get back up to $1,000. Because if, let's say, then your transmission goes, and you don't have that $1,000, and it's going to cost you $700 or $800, well, now what are you going to do? If you've only got $500 left in that account, where are you going to get the extra $200 or $300? You're going to throw it on your card, or you're going to have to open a new card. And there goes the system again. So build that reserve account back up to $1,000, and that's the figure.
And
right?
as you pay off these cards and get into your car loans and then onto your mortgage, excuse me, you can always raise that up to $2,000 or $3,000.
Absolutely, you can.
Just to be comfortable in case your boiler lets go in your house.
Anything. That's right. Exactly.
But the important thing is to be disciplined with the money that you free up.
Good money habits.
Yes, and use that towards paying off other credit cards and other debt that you have, and you don't have to drive a Lexus.
Nope.
Okay? You drive a nice, responsible car, your insurance is less, your payments are less, and you pay it off a lot quicker and free that money up. You don't have to have a new car every time you pay off your car.
That's the worst way to lose money. I mean, it's to buy a brand new car. As soon as you drive it off the lot, the equity in that car is gone. It's not an investment. I mean, it's never an investment. You lose that equity. So, exactly. And if you have a loan on a car, you got to have full coverage, right? Your insurance is a full coverage.
Yep.
Your excise taxes are huge. Nobody ever talks about that.
No.
Right? Nobody ever talks about the excise tax now. And you get that excise tax bill and you go, oh, wait a second, I was already tight. Yeah, I have an extra $300 or $400 a month. Well, do you? It's not just that, it's the insurance, obviously, like you mentioned. You got to have full coverage on it when you have a loan on it. Plus, the excise taxes are big when you're buying a new car all the time.
It drops unbelievably.
It's
you have like
crazy.
a 6 or 7-year-old car, it's $40, and you have a brand new car, it's $1,000.
Exactly. It's crazy. Now, we're not saying don't do those things, but you do those things when you've already established your wealth philosophy, right? I mean, once you've actually gotten all that debt paid down, well, then we can talk about a different philosophy.
If you want to buy a Lexus at that point, you got the money.
You got the money. That's exactly right. And it's a temporary thing. A lot of people lose sight of the long-term goal. After 90 days, they quit because they're sick and tired of it, and they want to go out to eat. They want to do those things. Now, there's another gentleman out there, by the way, and his name is T. Harv Eker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. He talks about, and there's a couple of philosophies about money. One of the things he talks about is very Dave Ramsey talks about, but at the same time, he says, listen, we know you want to have a little bit of something for yourself, okay? If you want to put a few bucks away each week, because every other month you're going to go out and you're going to treat yourself to a dinner because you feel good about your new money habits. You don't want this to turn into a depression state where you just feel like you're just riddled with debt and you're never going to get out from under it. Go out and treat yourself. But treat yourself once you've established good money habits, right? And if you say, all right, I'm going to take $5 a week for however many weeks or whatever it is that leads up to it, and then we're going to go out to, El Mariachi's and have something to eat or wherever it's going to be, fine. That's okay, but that cannot be a habit.
It's a habit, you don't appreciate it.
Right,
much.
Exactly.
It's a habit and it's a whole drum, and you go out to eat every single night and you don't appreciate it.
Right, you just don't.
So you're right, you treat yourself.
Yeah.
That's the most important.
That's
treat
right.
yourself when you have that money.
And take small victories and celebrate them. You get that first credit card paid off, celebrate that victory. If it's going to take you 6 months to get that first credit card paid off, fine. After a couple of months, take a look and don't just look at how much debt you have left, by the way. What you also want to do is have the mindset and change your mind of net worth. What is my net worth now? You've got X amount of debt. You're worth X. As you get that paid down, if it's not off yet, fine. You've gotten $300 paid off, $500 paid off. Well, you've got $300 extra in net worth, $500, $1,000, whatever it is. Celebrate that.
It's funny, Eric, that you mentioned that. On my desk in my office, I have a glass, and under that glass, I had every mortgage on every property that we own, and all the dates, how much that was owed, and all the dates when they would be paid off, and it was fun just watching those years go by, and those mortgages, and accomplished paying them off, not refinancing and dragging all the equity out. No, watching them get paid off right down to the last one. And I'll tell you, and every time one was paid off, we'd celebrate. Yeah.
Isn't it a great feeling?
And at one point it was $3 million. So it was, at first it was scary.
Right.
And then, but chipping away, paying them a little bit more on this one, a little bit more on that one. Got rid of the small ones faster, and then attacked the big ones. And I'll tell you what a feeling of accomplishment, and how great is the feeling of being financial free. And call us here, 508-822-1106. We'd like to hear your story. We'd like to talk to you about it. We'd like to help you in any way that we possibly
can. If you need some advice, if you need some thoughts, good books. I've got a whole slew of books in front of me now.
Yeah, we got to go through them.
I mean, then there's a lot of philosophies for this, but reach out. So I think our prize, I guess we should say.
We're going to talk about that, absolutely.
For somebody calling in, since nobody really, we had a couple of callers for the cookbooks, the healthy diet books, and those sorts of things, which, by the way, you still have to come by and claim your gift, and I know who you are. So come by and claim those gifts. I'm talking to you, yes. But today we're going to give cash.
Ooh, holy cow.
$10 for a phone call. Are you willing to step outside your comfort zone for $10? Does anybody out there need $10?
We're going to have to limit it to so many calls, though. I mean, that phone will be ringing. I won't see the light.
Are we?
Hey, when we run out of money, I won't see the light.
But that's a big question. $10 to give us a call, but you have to call us and tell us a story or ask us a question. You can't just call and say hi and hang up.
Hey, send me my $10. Yeah.
Get outside that comfort zone for $10.
That's awesome. All right, I'm going to give them a little time to think about it.
Yep.
I'm going to go to a commercial here, and we will be back in a few minutes.
Hi, I'm Dominic Damiano.
And I'm Brian Berard.
Check us out every Friday at 4:05 and every Saturday morning at 11:05.
As we cover high school and youth sports exclusively on WBVF 1530 AM.
Every 28 seconds, a car in the U.S. is stolen. What's even more shocking is that 25% of those vehicles had the keys inside. 60% were left unlocked, and 95% had no anti-theft devices. In times like these, protect yourself from auto theft by taking extra precautions. Never leave your vehicle running or with the keys in the ignition. Always lock your doors and keep your windows closed, even when parked in front of your own home. When away, park in busy, well-lighted places and never leave valuables in plain view. Equip your car or truck with an alarm or other theft deterrent device. Never leave your vehicle registration in your car. If you do become a victim of auto theft, report it immediately. Have your make, model, license plate, and vehicle ID number available to help authorities recover your vehicle. To learn more about protecting yourself from auto theft, visit ncpc.org or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night to a cold house with no heat, or come home to a flood in the basement because your hot water heater burst? If this were to happen to you today, would you know who to call? Well, we hope this never happens to you. But if it does, you should know you can always count on Anytime Plumbing and Heating for fast, reliable service. Anytime Plumbing has an emergency response technician available 24/7, ready to help when the need arises. So you can relax and know we are only a phone call away. We'll fix the problem and have your heating system up and running in no time.
With an experienced and knowledgeable crew, you can trust Anytime Plumbing. Licensed and fully insured, we stand behind our work and are proud members of the Better Business Bureau. And of course, we will provide you with a free estimate so that there are never any hidden surprises. If you are looking for fast, reliable service, fair pricing, and your satisfaction guaranteed, look no further than Anytime Plumbing and Heating.
And if your heater dies in a cold winter's night, Know that you can always count on Anytime Plumbing and Heating. We are here for you 24/7. Just call 508-880-2800. That's 508-880-2800. Anytime Plumbing and Heating.
Yes, you can call that number, too. All right? Anytime Plumbing and Heating, great company. And you can call here, 508-822-1106. I'm sure that thing's going to start lighting up here soon. Step out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, step outside your comfort zone. Do something you're not used to. Mm-hmm. Change requires a little bit of pain.
Pain, exactly.
Right? A little bit of, if you work out, your muscles aren't really building until they're stretching, until they hurt a little bit.
It's a good pain.
Right? Yeah, well.
I can remember making some calls and actually getting a pain flying up and down my spine. That's how nervous I was about making calls.
You know what? I'll tell you what, the first time I did my interview with, I started the book of the week, right, with Tony's show, Hometown Talk. Mm-hmm. Can I tell you how nervous I was before I called in that show? I was walking circles in my living room. I was so nervous about making that first call. I was going to be live on the radio, right? I mean, that's very, very unnerving. But growth requires change, right? Mm-hmm. And growth requires a little bit. Oh, the phone line is lit up.
Oh, hey, here we go. $10. Good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? Let's keep trying.
Hold on a second. There you go. Now, can I hear you now?
I can hear you. I wanted to tell you my story.
All right. Let's hear it.
Okay. I had 4 credit cards going all at once. A mortgage, car payment. Never seemed to get ahead. I read this book, and I followed the advice to take the highest percentage credit card and pay it off until I got down to one credit card.
Good.
And I use a certain credit card for a certain thing, but I only use 2 credit cards totally, ever. And the second one is just for hotel rooms or vacations, because I get a discount if I use that card, a big discount.
Sure.
So,
well, that's
I've got my interest down to 9% on the credit card.
Wow.
899. Yeah. So I called them, and since where I paid off the other credit cards, they reduced my interest. I asked them if they could reduce it, and they told me they could go from. I was paying $12.99. They said $8.99.
Beautiful.
And I just had to transfer one small amount on another credit card to them, and that's what happened. And it didn't cost me anything to transfer it, no fees.
Here's another $10 you can pop on that card.
That's right.
I don't care about that. I just want to call and tell you my
debt reduction, baby.
There's the $10, and I think you got to pick a book up.
If you're live streaming, I'm showing it right now to the camera. There's the $10. Come on, people, step outside that comfort zone.
Hey, that's a great story.
Right?
Keep it up.
Is.
Well, I'm not happy yet, but I'm getting there. I just went to refinance my house because I have an adjustable mortgage, a 5-year fix, and then it jumps from wherever they want it to go.
Yeah, well, it depends on what your index is, but yes, you're right.
Yeah. So I got that mortgage because my equity in my home, because of the bust in the home, I lost a lot of equity.
Right.
And the only way I could get it was through this kind of a loan.
Okay.
So I went again, and I got to wait for the appraiser to tell me that my house is 80% of the mortgage I want to put on the house.
Because you don't want to pay PMI?
Yeah, you paying PMI on that?
PMI is expensive.
You bet it is. And it's...
Are you taking out enough to pay off all the credit cards?
What's that?
Are you taking enough out on the mortgage to pay the credit cards?
Oh, well, yeah, I could pay the minimum, but I'm going to pay the credit card off. I'm working on it. It's about $1,000 now, which is
what I mean
it was about $1,600.
When you finance, are you getting extra money out, or are you just financing the balance?
I'm
just the rate and term.
That's good. That's wise.
And
That's very
I
wise.
asked them the big question where I'm a retiree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I asked them the question. 30 years from now, I'm not going to be here. They said we could care less.
Well, we can't
have the 80%, and they could care less what happens.
Well, yeah, true, but they can't deny you a loan. I mean, first of all, we have no proof that you won't be here for 30 years, but you can't be denied. Now, I'm a mortgage originator, so I know this inside and out. You can't be denied a loan term because of your age. That's age discrimination.
Right.
So we can't say...
He didn't say I would be denied.
Yeah, right.
But
I mean, what we're saying is...
The problem is that I'm borrowing, looks like about 80% if the value is at what I think it is.
Right.
But it could very well be, if it's less, either I have to come up with a difference in the money or I don't get the mortgage.
True, but there may be some options for you. So you know what? If you want to chat a little bit about that, I'm sure your originator. I'm not sure who you're going through, and you don't have to mention it over the air. I don't want you to. There's a lot of good folks in the industry, but if you want to stop by the shop, read more books, I'll chat with you about that as well. Or give me a buzz on my cell phone, and I'll give you that number. In fact, why don't you just stop by the shop, and we'll talk about it then. I'll give you my cell phone number then. Or if anybody else has mortgage questions, origination questions, you know what? I'll give you my cell. It's 508-277-3210. Feel free to call me. I originate mortgages. I own the shop. I believe... I really, really believe passionately in helping people manage their mortgage debt as well. So give me a shout. We'll chat. And, yeah, that's great. But that's a good success story. So we got $10 waiting for you, too. So you have to come to the shop to collect that $10.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I love your show. It's so informative.
Thank you so much. We appreciate
I listen to it every week.
Yeah, we appreciate the participation.
Thanks a lot, brother.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
So that is a good success story, right? And even though he didn't follow the philosophy, we're talking about lowest balance to highest balance, he attacked it. He took action. You can't do anything without action, right? Yeah. You got to take action.
I mean, and it's good to find a credit card with a lower rate. And
of course it is.
No transfer.
Absolutely
charge.
It is.
So, yeah, that was smart.
Yep.
Very smart.
It really is. It really is. So
just another factor here I like to throw out there, because I like all these little things, because people don't realize what they pay on mortgages.
Yep.
For instance, if you had a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage, and it was $1,500 a month, your payment, okay? If you added an additional $150 to that, you would save in interest $54,700 and change, okay? And you would only be paying for 24.5 years, actually.
24, that's right.
Okay. Now, if you pay an extra $500 a month on your mortgage, you would save $120,000 in interest, over $120,000, and you'd only be paying for 17.5 years.
Think about that.
If you paid $1,000 extra a month, you'd save $163,000 over the course of the mortgage, and you'd be paid off in 12.6 years. If you doubled your payments, $1,500 a month, you'd save $209,000. Real money. And you'd be paid off in 6.1 years.
Think about your net worth now.
Exactly. So the interest, to pay that 30 years is crazy.
Yep, it really is.
That's why banks have money.
That's right. They don't. By the way, they don't want to own homes.
No.
They want to make money on lending money. They have the money. They want to lend it. So, yeah, they make money because they charge interest, right? So there is a smart way to get into a house. I had a discussion with a client recently. She was first-time home buyer at, 58, 59 years old. Her husband had passed away, and she wanted to buy her first home. She said, I don't want to die without having bought a home. So we were chatting. She was a little bit nervous and unnerved about the whole process, and she said, I want you to tell me that I can afford this house. Now, that is a very big question, right? And even though her debt ratios, and you talked about debt ratios with Nancy a few weeks back, even though her debt ratios worked, we had to now break down her lifestyle. Well, what do you do with everything left over? How many grandchildren do you have? Well, first of all, what are the utilities going to run you? Do you have cable? What's your gas bill? What's your water bill? What's your electric bill? Find out those things on this property you looking to purchase beforehand, because if the gas bill is twice what you expect it to be, well, then that's going to be a big problem. If the electric bill is twice what you expect it to be, that's going to be a big problem. So we went through everything, all of those expenses, her auto loan, which she had with short on her credit. Here's this payment. What's it costing you to insure it? Is that the cheapest insurance rate you can get? What do you need to eat each week? Do you entertain? Do you have grandchildren that you spend on Christmas and birthdays and those sorts of things? We broke this all the way down to the point where we were talking about how much she was going to need for Christmas, how much she was going to need for those birthdays, when she has a Super Bowl party. If she has a Super Bowl party, does she entertain? Does she do any of those things? Does she eat out? We went through this entire process. And at the end of the process, she said, wow. I mean, it took us an hour and 15 minutes to go through this whole thing, to break it down. Now, that's affordability. Not a lot of people.
Could she afford it?
She can afford it.
Wow.
And she had money after, she had residual after to invest in her future. Okay? So there's a difference between affordability and can you afford the payment.
Yeah.
Right?
A lot more to it
there's
than the
more to it. So there really is. And that's so, in any case, not to get off track on that, but that's making the right mortgage decision is important. So in any case, yeah.
And another thing that we talk about and we encourage is to make more money. I mean, there are a lot of ways to make more money.
Lots of ways.
I mean, we have one in particular, but there are so many. I mean, you can work a couple hours overtime if it's available. I mean, rather than sit in front of the tube that's non-productive, right? Work a couple hours of overtime, or get a part-time job. People laugh and say, "Oh, I don't want to work at McDonald's," or I don't want to work at Burger King or Wendy's. I'm not picking on them. I think they're great.
There's no shame in that job.
No shame. Let me tell you something. If I lost everything I had tomorrow, I tell everybody this: I'm not going to fall apart.
No,
I'm going to get a job, and even if it's serving people at a fast food place, within 6 months, I'm going to tell you I'll be managing it.
That's right.
Without a doubt, I'll be the manager, and at some point, I'll own one.
That's right.
So that's the attitude you need to take.
But see now, there's a perfect example of your mindset versus the mindset of somebody who says, I get no breaks. I want management to raise my minimum wage. Well, why? If you're content to stay at minimum wage, you're always going to be at minimum wage. The government's going to raise it a little bit, but that's not going to get you out of your debt. That's not going to get you the earning that you really, really want and, by the way, deserve. Okay? What are you doing for yourself to get to that next level? You just went through it. In 6 months, you're going to be assistant manager to branch manager, region, whatever it's going to be. You're determined to get there, right? And you're going to get there. The other philosophy is, well, I'll never make it there, or I don't want to work that hard, or I never get any breaks. Well, there's a big difference there in your philosophy, and guess what? You're pretty successful, right? You're pretty successful. It's because the way you think about your opportunity, the way you think about that money. So anyway, those second jobs. And if your goal is to not be a regional manager at one of those fast food, that's fine. What is your goal? Is that a stepping stone to something else? Right? But yeah.
You have to get creative.
You have to get creative, earn more income. Get that second job, get that third job, get that other part-time job, work those overtime hours when they're offered to get that debt paid down. Because once you get that debt paid down, you now have more income for yourself. You've just given yourself a raise. Is what you've done. When you're not paying $300 a month for an auto loan and $300 a month for your credit cards, you've just given yourself a $600 a month raise. And even if you are at minimum wage, your money goes a lot further at minimum wage with no debt every month than it does with a whole bunch of debt. So you've given yourself that raise.
So if you call in here, you're going to start out with $10. That'll be your last 2 lattes.
That's right.
Then you can go off them. Ring the phone up, 508-822-1106. Another way that we have, if you go to our website, you'll see a lot about a company that we deal with. Another way to earn money is to stay at home and earn money. None of my other businesses were anything like that until I was introduced to this one, and it took me probably 6 months to really say, holy cow, there's really no holes in this. This is a legitimate. If I can take market share from some of the giants and give people a better product for less money and a safer product for less money and make money in doing it just by referring them to the company, what better way is there? You're helping people and you're making money while you're helping people. I mean, like you in the mortgages, you can help someone get a mortgage also, and and then
I can help them manage the debt.
Exactly. I mean, so you're getting paid for helping them, not getting paid to fulfill your greed.
That's right. That's right.
So
that's called a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
And if you can create win-win situations, you'll go so far. No doubt about it. But that and a great philosophy and a great company.
Yes.
Right. I mean, they do it right.
They do. Absolutely. So go to the website, hww.buzz, That's HWW.BUZZ. Check us out. And you can email us too there. There's email addresses. You can give us a call. We're more than happy to help anybody at any time, even if it's just to save money. Don't have to do it as a business. You can buy better products, safer products for less money, and get healthier, and have a few bucks to put on your credit card.
Absolutely.
You know, that's what we're all about. You know, you got to have physical health. You got to have financial health. And then your total personal health, because you have both of those others. You know, you got the time to do the things that you want to do, and you have the money to do the things that you want to do. We don't encourage people to work 120 hours a week. I do. I love it.
Right.
If you have the passion, you love what you do, then you don't. The hours just fly by.
That's right.
You know, if I sit in front of the television for 1 hour and watch a show, I feel like
you just wasted an hour of your life, right? Yeah.
I didn't produce anything. It was non-productive. Right. Although I do encourage, you know, to relax.
That's good downtime.
You know,
sure, that's good downtime. It's a great way for us to connect.
Yes.
Right. So there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you know, we'll throw our snowshoes on and go snowshoeing through the woods, so we're staying active,
healthy.
And you know, I'm glad you brought that up. And another thing is, what do we teach our kids about money? What do we teach our children? I mean, what have we been taught? I mean, once you determine what your money blueprint is, by the way, to determine what your money blueprint is, there's a book, and it's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harv Eker, and he talks specifically about what your money blueprint is, what you learned from your parents. We always heard things, for example, money doesn't grow on trees. Cold, hard cash, right? Well, money's not cold and it's not hard. It's warm and soft, and it loves people to have a whole bunch of it, right? But those sorts of things. Or, you know, he got rich because he must have gotten there on the backs of other people. That's so untrue. Rich give more than almost anybody. They give, they give, they give. They help people. They want to help people. So in any case, those money blueprints are very important in how you actually achieve financial success. Dave Ramsey talks about it. T. Harv Eker talks about it. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is another great one. I mean, you can't go wrong with this, and it's your money philosophy. And he talks about how his biological father was brilliant, and he was in charge of the Hawaiian school systems, public school systems. I think he was the whatever that position is. But then he had, and he was always living from paycheck to paycheck, and he was still paid well. But then you had his rich dad, who was an investor, made his money work for him, and that's where he learned his money smarts from. But in any case, what do we teach our kids? He came out with a book called Rich Kid, Smart Kid, right? And he talks how parents can help their children learn about money, even if your money blueprint isn't there, even if you are living paycheck to paycheck. Are you satisfied to teach your children that? You shouldn't be. Our children should learn about money because money is important.
Best thing I ever did was at Christmas, I asked you for some books and tapes for all of my kids. And my son came up to me the other day and he said, I want to open up another account because I want to put 10% of everything I make. Matter of fact, he came up to me yesterday again and he said, I think I want to put 20% of everything I make into that other account. And that was from Tony Robbins, actually.
Yeah, Tony Robbins' book, Money. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, get your kids some books or some tapes.
Absolutely.
And encourage them to read. I mean, and you do the same.
Yes, and do the same. It's never, ever too late to start. Don't think because you're already retired that it's too late. Well, I'm retired and I'm living on my fixed income. Guess what? Your fixed income, by the way, is not as good next year as it was this year. And it's not going to be as good 2 years from now as it is this year.
As far
it's
as
just not going to happen.
Retirement is a myth today.
It really is.
You know, I mean, and let me just point out one fact. There's a woman, 96 years old, that I met at a convention with our company. And her Social Security payment every month is $600 and change. Her check from us every month is over $3,500. So how can you live
at
on
90-something years old?
Yes.
You are never, ever too old.
Yeah.
No?
And so let me just put out there, too, that anyone that goes to the website and requests a copy of this pamphlet here, you leave your information. I'll be glad to get it to you. It's basically simple steps to your financial freedom. And it's a great little pamphlet on everything that we discussed today, just about. And it gives you the step-by-step way to accomplish, you know, what you need to accomplish to get yourself to some financial freedom, and along the way enjoy life.
That's right.
Okay, not just keep working for the man,
No.
working for the man, and not feeling good about it and being depressed.
That's depressing.
Yeah, get yourself out of that. Be positive. Hey, here's a great, one of the things that really got me kicked on motivation was Joe Vitale. You ever listen?
Oh, I love Joe.
Joe Vitale. I mean, he's got...
he was in The Secret, which was a big book a number of years ago, and he's got his own couple of books as well.
And he does music and he does books.
Yeah.
Attract Factor is great.
Yes.
And that's on tapes. And, they're really, really good.
Right. If you don't have it, by the way, I have in this stack here, not just the books, but almost all these available on tape. So if you drive to work, you spend time working out, whatever you're doing, you can get the CD.
Yes.
All right, get the CD and listen to it, pop it in. Instead of listening to, whatever radio station other than, your informative health. Yeah, it gets a little depressed. But, throw it in there, even if it's 10, 15 minutes a day. Listen to it on commute, stuck in traffic, throw it in there.
Right.
Carry a little notebook, write some things down, take action.
There's a and I'm getting off the subject here a little bit, but there's a shower head that Kohler puts out that I bought for an upstairs shower. And actually, it's a speaker. It's a Bluetooth. So you can play on your whatever it is, MP3 or whatever, and it plays right through the speaker while you're taking a shower.
Isn't that great?
So that would be great to just put in them, because everybody knows I love the Tubbies, and that's where I listen to all my motivational stuff, because you can relax and nobody's bothered.
Well, find your place though. Yours is the Tub, right?
Yep.
4:30 in the morning.
Yep.
That's where you're going to be. But it might be after your kids are in bed. For example, for me, once I intimately love that time with my kids at the end of the night to connect with them, talk about their day. We pray together. We talk about money if we need to. We talk about fun if we need to. We just talk about real world things. And when they're down, which is generally by 9 o'clock, and we kind of stage them because I've got a 7-year-old goes first, my 9-year-old, then my 12-year-old, and I make sure that we talk about things for them and you connect with them. That's just my personal belief. I think it's important. But at 9 o'clock, that's my time. And between 9 and 11, I'm studying. I'm studying, I'm reading, I'm learning, I'm watching I'm reading blogs, I'm watching podcasts, coaching. I do a lot of personal coaching, and I've done that through Unbeatable Minds, which I love that gentleman. His name is Mark Devine. I mentioned him before. In fact, he may be willing to come on with us and chat with us. I connected with him a little while ago, his office, and because I'm a bookseller, and he's written several books, and I'm also going through his coaching monthly. The way he lays the program out is unbelievable. It's awesome. It's life-changing, really is.
What's his name, Devine?
Mark Devine. And in any case, if you want some information on that, I'll probably have it up on the site in the next day or two, although my host is doing some updates, so I've been having trouble saving things. But call me on that book. That's an amazing thing. And I'm thinking about putting some sort of group together where we help each other work through those programs. But in any case, long story short, he's super successful financially, super successful in life, and he said he may be willing to come on to our show and talk to us.
That would be great. That would be awesome. We should get more of people like that, more authors to call in.
We really should.
Okay. Just quickly, some of the books that we mentioned today, of course, Dave Ramsey's.
Total Money Makeover.
Total Money Makeover. He had one previous to that, but this gives you the step-by-step.
And he's also got one out, by the way. We talked about kids. He's also got another one out now, which is Smart Money, Smart Kids. And you don't have to do this with your kids. And if you haven't done it before, do it. It's important. Money matters to kids.
Joe Vitale, we talked about.
Joe Vitale, the Attractor Factor. Jim Rohn's books. Now, Jim Rohn passed, but some of those are out of print now. But that's all right. Give me a shout if you need them. I can get anything that's in print and or out of print.
And he is one of the best.
Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. All right. Think and Grow Rich. We talk about that. We talk about rich man, poor man, right? Rich dad, poor dad, by the way. Rich kid, smart kid. Think and Grow Rich. 365. You love this one. And this actually, by the way, we should mention this.
Yes.
The workbook.
Think and Grow Rich workbook.
How important is it to people?
Every day. Every single day without missing a day, I do that.
The next one I mentioned, the 4-Hour Work Week, Tim Ferriss. And this talks about passive income. This talks about residual income. This talks about creating a lifestyle that you love and want.
Bobby?
And forcing that income to reach that level.
But I need you, Bobby.
So anyway.
Keep going, Eric. I need to get the news on here. And Dominic.
All right.
We'll get somebody to get the news on here because we have to go. Thanks for listening. Hey, nobody wanted money today.
One call. We got that one call. He's going to be coming by the show. Come on, people. Come on, people. $10.
Oh, next week we'll do the same thing and see what we can do.
All right.
You are listening to the voice of Southeastern Massachusetts for local news, sports, and weather. AM 1530, WBVF, Middleborough, Taunton.
USA Radio News, I'm Bill Morrison. The U.S. says it's very concerned about the Islamic State group's statement that an American woman is dead in Syria after a Jordanian airstrike. Correspondent Sagar Magani.
The claim posted on a militant website says 26-year-old aid worker Kayla Jean Mueller died when Jordanian aircraft struck.
Baby, you're listening to it. Healthy, wealthy, and wise. And we hope to make you all healthy, wealthy, and wise. I know it's a little difficult with the wise on some of us, right, Eric? Teaching us old dogs new tricks, you know?
It can be done.
It can be done. I believe it can. I try to change every single day, at least my underwear.
Hey, 1%. Go by the 1% rule. I'm going to be 1% better today than I was yesterday.
That's good.
Think about that every day.
Yeah.
What's 1%?
1%.
That's it.
Give it a shot.
Can't change the world in a day.
Yeah. Hey, call in
1%.
today. Change, and call us today. 508-822-1106. We'd love to have you join in on the conversation. We're going to be talking about moolah.
Money.
How many names is there for moolah? The green stuff.
The green stuff.
Money,
yeah,
cassiola.
you know, I think one thing we should talk about when we talk about money. I think one of the things that's important is to talk about people's view of money. What's your paradigm? How do you view money? What does money mean to you? And you know, what I mean by that in particular is, if your view of money is that I don't want it because it's too much of a burden, or it's I'll never have a lot of money, those sorts of things. What is your money blueprint?